Hello and welcome to Cricket on Air. You're listening to America's premier cricket show, Cricket on Air. And you are here with your three radio commentators, Shri, Deepika and Himanshu.
We are so glad you're back, Deepika. Shri and I were totally lost last week, right, Shri?
Exactly.
तुम्हें मेरी याद आई, हमें ये सुन के ही बहुत अच्छा लगा.
Wow. On that note, let's begin our cracking up.
You know, Himanshu, let me ask you a question. Duncan Fletcher is the new coach of the Indian team, and for this tour of West Indies, Suresh Raina is the captain. What would have Duncan Fletcher said to Raina when he met him for the first time?
तेरे मेरे मिलन की ये
Raina.
कोई नया गुल खिलाएगी,
कोई नया गुल
खिलाएगी.
अब वहाँ जाके थोड़े रन बनाना.
All right. So, Deepika, let me ask you this. What is the similarity between watching a cartoon and watching Alan Donald getting out on the first ball?
Well, you see, in both cases, Shri, you see a Donald Duck walk across your TV screen.
All right, that's enough of cracking up this week, friends. When we'll come back, we'll take you on an interesting story on Cricket on Air. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, friends, to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air. This is your host Himanshu, and we are ready to take you through another fun-filled ride.
Friends, how many times have you experienced a situation like this? Let's say India is playing a T20 or a one-day international match. The situation is really tense, and just then you think of an interesting anecdote, or you have an interesting take on what should be done to make the situation better. And just when you think about it, you see that the commentator says the same thing on the air. You curse the fact that you're sitting at home. You would have rather been in the commentary box. And just then, the last few years of your life flash in front of you. How college life followed by job interviews completely took away everything that you had.
Shri is talking about his own life right now, guys. Well, there is one man who didn't let college life and subsequent jobs take over his passion. And that man is no other but Harsha Bhogle. Yes, today we are going to take you through the story of none other but Harsha himself.
The man who has gone on to become the most identifiable voice of Indian cricket, Harsha Bhogle.
You know, for the uninformed, let me tell you, Harsha Bhogle is an Indian commentator and has been one since the last 3 decades.
And not only a commentator, Deepika, he's also a huge media personality. Arguably one of the biggest celebrities in India.
Well, I totally agree with you. Cricket analysis and TV chat shows like Harsha Online and Harsha Unplugged speak of his celebrity status on the media.
Well, we have heard of stories of cricketers. We've heard stories of tournaments. But wouldn't it be awesome to know about the story of Harsha Bhogle himself? How he went on to become the commentator, the celebrity that he really is today. So friends, we are going to take you through the story of Harsha Bhogle today. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to America's premier cricket show, Cricket on Air. Today we are talking to you about the story of Harsha Bhogle. Harsha Bhogle is the son of A.D. Bhogle, a professor of French, and Shalini Bhogle, a professor of psychology. He went to Hyderabad Public School and then studied chemical engineering at Osmania University in Hyderabad.
Wow, chemical engineering. That sounds geeky.
Yeah, sure does.
Not only that, and later he got his MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad.
Whenever there is talk of chemistry, I always am reminded of the weird smells that used to come out of the chemistry lab in my school. Remember H2SO4 and whatever, and doing engineering in that 4 years.
Are you sure, dude, the smell was coming from the chemicals and not you?
Now, I don't want to stand in that lab with both of you.
Well, anyway, let's get back to Harsha. So, like most of us, Harsha's passion for cricket was certainly alive and kicking during those times. He represented his university in the All India Inter-University Cricket Tournament. Then there's also this team which featured future Indian cricketers like Mohammad Azharuddin and Harsha Bhogle.
Wow, that's interesting to know. I mean, we've always known of Harsha Bhogle as the commentator, but it's certainly awesome to know that at one point he was playing cricket himself, and not just playing cricket by himself, he was playing cricket with Mohammad Azharuddin.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, well, this is probably how Harsha probably came to know of Azhar. And they probably went to become very good friends because eventually he went to write a book on Azhar titled Azhar, the authorized biography of Muhammad Azharuddin. So that's pretty thick, guys.
Yeah, but why authorized? I mean, is there like an unauthorized biography of Azhar also floating around, guys?
I think I would know who might have written the unauthorized biography of Muhammad Azharuddin.
Who's that?
Okay, who's that?
Sangeeta Bijlani.
Well, yeah.
That is totally an censored and unauthorized version.
After his engineering, Harsha decided to move on to the world of MBAs, right? As Deepika mentioned. But he didn't stop playing cricket when he decided to do his MBA. He also played cricket in IIM Ahmedabad, and he was actually the captain of the IIM Ahmedabad team.
And we will talk about Harsha's tales from IIM and the IIM cricket field after we take this short break. Stay tuned, guys.
Welcome back to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air. I'm Shri, and today we are taking you through the story of Harsha Bhogle.
You know, Shri, Harsha actually realized that he didn't have much of a career in cricket. He mentions, how the best part about his cricket career was his fielding.
Wow, that's like most of us.
And then there's this interesting story behind that. And really what I really like is his authenticity about, his cricketing talent. Harsha mentioned that both his batting and bowling required a lot of talent and hard work. And he wasn't really that great at it. But fielding largely required more enthusiasm and willingness to give it all, and he was very good at that piece of cricket. So, it was his fielding attribute that was the best in his cricket play.
Yeah, not only that, Deepika, he also says that good fielding helped him make great friends with the bowlers.
That's interesting.
Of course. I mean, Joe check with John T. Rhodes. He's probably the best friend of a lot of his South African mates. Well, I mean, the point is that bowlers love the fielders or the teammates who are ready to throw themselves around and save runs that, make the bowlers' figures look good.
Exactly.
So all the bowlers in the team were obviously Harsha's best friend.
I think what I really like about the fact is that he is thinking from the point of view of how this friendship became a long-term career strategy for him, because of course if he called on for someone to give him an interview later on, that was always a welcome.
And more than that, I think at that point he was able to analyze his own game in that way. To be able to analyze that at that point, it seems like a very intelligent thing to do.
Strategic thinking, Shri. Strategic thinking to get the best results.
And maybe that's when he realized that I should probably go in a line where my strategic brain would be most well utilized.
I don't think that's how it happened, Himanshu, but it could.
Well, I mean, commentators, he's a very astute commentator, and you'll notice that he has one of the best analysis whenever he commentates anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's not got the easiest job in the world when you're sitting with the best of the best in cricket, and that's pretty hard.
Never said it was easy, but then that's what makes the man so cool. He's able to
get the best out of the others who are sitting around him.
Right.
I think he's more like voice of the nation. He's positioned himself like he's the guy who talks from a perspective of an Indian viewer and gives up that kind of perspective to the commentary rather than an expert on cricket.
But even then, he has to come up with the right questions. And to be able to do that, I'm sure he has to analyze the situation. So I'm sure his astute brain helps him do that.
Of course, it's all his MBA paying off right there.
Right.
That's an MBA saying
exactly.
that.
And I think it's being paying many times over.
I see that it's a Porter analysis that's going on.
Anyway, guys, with that said, let's wrap up this segment. We'll be back soon. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to America's premier cricket show, Cricket on Air. and I am Deepika, taking you on a ride to talk about the story of Harsha Bhogle. We just spoke about all his talent prior to him becoming a commentator, a successful one at that. But I really wanted to dwell into the question of how did it all begin?
You know, we talked about the fact that he was a cricketer when he was doing his education, but commentary was something that he really liked and he really pursued. At the age of 19, mind you, at the age of 19, he went to the All India Radio and expressed his desire to commentate. And well, lo and behold, All India Radio allowed him to commentate in one of the Ranji Trophy matches that was taking place in Hyderabad.
It looks like a voluntary activity, but it turned out to be quite profitable in the end.
Yeah, right. Well, while he was doing his MBA, he was invited by Doordarshan to do a commentary for his first ever test match. Sounds pretty awesome, huh?
Pretty interesting because coming from a Doordarshan which had Krishi Darshan, I mean, if you had someone at that time, if you could position yourself as the only commentator, you had a good career right in front of
that's
you.
exactly why they call themselves Doordarshan. They were Doordarshi, right? Well, in one of his interviews, Harsha mentions that the faculty at IIM were very generous to him. They let him go for covering this test match in spite of his exams.
Wow.
He came back to IIM Ahmedabad after that series and then wrote his exam.
I think I have a theory behind this. He was probably getting test match tickets for free for all the professors, and then they would let him go. So that was pretty good, incentive for them.
Well, it was a test match. I'm not sure how many professors in IIM Ahmedabad were interested in watching a test match.
Well, the interesting part is that, even though he went, on Doordarshan to cover this, at that time he didn't really think of making a career in the media.
Okay.
And after completing his MBA, he joined an advertising firm called Rediffusion and worked there for a couple of years.
I see a story behind this.
Wow.
I see a setting in a drawing room where his parents are sitting next to him and he wants to become a commentator, and his father is going, no way, this can't happen. I mean, that's the story behind it. I am just speculating, but
you know what?
it looks like that.
In order to give some weight to Deepika's speculation, maybe we should have Harsha in one of our shows sometime.
We should.
I think Harsha needs to come to our show and really get behind the scenes with us about how he became a commentator.
And dispel all these speculations and actually give them...
I have many other speculations, Harsha, if you're listening to this show.
Anyway, enough of Deepika's speculations for now.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take you further in the story of Harsha Bhogle. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, friends. You are listening to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air. We are taking you through the story of Harsha Bhogle, and this is your host Himanshu, continuing the story. In 1992, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, invited Harsha to cover the India versus Australia series, and that was probably the turning point in his life.
This is really a big stride, guys, because imagine Harsha was invited to speak with the greats like Sunil Gavaskar.
Yep, so what if he didn't get a chance to open the batting with Sunil Gavaskar? He actually got a chance to open the commentary with Sunil Gavaskar.
I thought you were going to say he opened the microphone with
This actually gives a lot of hope to the Indian youth, that you don't need to be a cricketer. You could be a fanatic Indian fan of cricket and then you can have a career in it. This is really awesome.
Yeah, not only did it, boost the Indian cricketers' morals, it also boosted the ratings of ABC.
Exactly.
And his own morale to do a lot of freelancing on media channels. So I think all of us see a lot of win-win situation by this one invitation, which is really great.
Exactly. So from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, he went on to the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC. See, he was making progress. He went from A to B.
Yeah.
Now he must have gone from B.
And then he went straight to E, which is ESPN.
Yeah, so he was taking giant strides, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then came the S, which is the Star Sports.
And, Star Sports and ESPN came to India and they wanted someone to be the face of cricket on their TV channels. Guess who was the number they called? Who do you want to call? Harsha Bhogle. So I think that's pretty good that he was an obvious choice by that time. He had set up a lot of experience and he had a lot of credibility behind him. You know what is most exciting is that once you're associated with brands like ESPN, Star Sports, you automatically become a celebrity, and Harsha became one like no other.
But this was an interesting phase because ESPN Star Sports had just started in India, and obviously the commentary team would comprise mainly of Indians. So Harsha Bhogle was sitting with the likes of Sunil Gavaskar or Ravi Shastri, and even though he was the obvious choice to be the face, he still had a job to do, and the job was not easy. It wasn't going to be easy sitting next to Sunil Gavaskar and talk about a straight drive, or sitting next to, say, Imran Khan and talk about fast bowling. So he realized quickly that his niche lied in making the Gavaskars and Imran Khans look good in commentary.
And how did he do that?
Right. So, that's a very good point, Shri. And again, this is my speculation. I think the way he did that was by asking questions which a common man would ask of these experts.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic, and he's been doing that for almost 2 decades now. Well, time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll take you further in this story of Harsha Bhogle. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air. And this is your host, Deepika, talking to you about none other but Harsha Bhogle. Talking about him, over the years, with the great work that he has done, Harsha has proved to the world how good a thinker he is about the game. One of the impressive things I saw most recently was his TED Talk, and the insight he brings about the evolution of cricket and how it was invented by the Britishers, and yet it became the best ever franchise that India has had, and how it has become a phenomena, and a lot of people now in the world of cricket attribute themselves with the Indian Cricket League and make a lot of money out of it. And what an insightful way of bringing that. But what's so commendable about him is that he's so excited and passionate about when he talks about cricket. He brings in this interesting, I don't like to use out of the box, but I think original ideas about the game, and he gets into giving the listener the entire background of how to develop that story, and he kind of comes up with a script and in a way presents it that it's so engaging that you feel drawn into the story. And I think that's one of the most incredible things.
Yeah, Deepika, and the best part is it's not only about he covering cricket matches. He also does some other things. Like, for example, along with his wife Anita, they have a company called ProSearch, and what ProSearch does is corporate training and leadership seminars for executives. And their website says, using the metaphor of sport in motivating corporate executives to relate to issues they face in their working lives.
And that one thing he probably is preaching and practicing, and which is, you have to have a sport-like mentality to be an executive. Like, you have to have a certain discipline, and Harsha himself is a big proponent of how disciplined he is in keeping his commitments for his commentary, and how he gets 8 hours of rest before the next day, also stays away from any kind of big bash parties so that he can bring his 100% to the game the next day. I think that's what it is.
I think he's very honest with his profession. If you look at any of his interviews and if you see him talk about commentary, you will see how honest he is. He says, I want to give my best, and I want to make sure I always give my best whenever I'm on the air, and for that I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. And if it means not drinking, I won't do that. If it means I'll skip parties, I'll do that, and I'll always be well read and well informed, and he does that with aplomb.
You know what, the thought that's coming, have you ever watched the Superman and the Batman? They say with powers comes extra responsibility, and I think that's what it's, when you were speaking, that's what coming to my mind.
That's very well said, Deepika. And guys, it's not, again, as I said, it's not only about just doing commentary on cricket that he does. He's also a very voracious writer.
Exactly.
Right? He writes columns, and he's also written books. We mentioned about the book he's written on Azhar's biography.
Correct.
The official one. But he also recently wrote another book called The Winning Way, Learning from Sport Managers.
I think, that really speaks to his commitment to the sport, and how he's committed to not only making the game of cricket, but making it big and taking it to other spheres of people's life, and how it can impact the executives or people who want to become big in their lives. So it's pretty fascinating.
And Deepika, you mentioned about the beginning of the segment, you mentioned about Harsha's TED Talk. Can we share the link on our Facebook page for our viewers?
We will definitely share the link, actually the entire video, on our Facebook page for people to listen to. It's a great video. It's only about 20 minutes long, but I'm sure people would enjoy that.
On that note, let's take a quick break, guys, and we'll be back soon.
Welcome back to Cricket on Air, friends. I'm Shri, and today we are talking about the story of Harsha Bhogle. Friends, Harsha Bhogle is a great commentator. He's very articulate in the way he says things. He's also known for his wit, and he has come up with some absolutely funny one-liners during his commentary or during his show. Let me share some of them with you. He was commentating in a match, and Yuvraj Singh took a hat-trick. And as soon as he took a hat-trick, he started running away from everyone. And the teammates were chasing him, and Yuvraj Singh was trying to run away from them. And Harsha said, "Don't know why people run away in happiness."
I have another one, Shri. This was in a match between India and South Africa. Umpire Rudy Kurtzen caught on camera sporting a rare smile.
Okay.
And Harsha commented on that. Last time Rudy Kurtzen smiled, there was peace in West Asia.
Guys, at this point, I really want to talk about Harsha's looks. I think he's one of the most pleasant faces in the world of media.
Okay.
When he smiles, he is, you're probably not aware of it, but he's certain kind of handsomeness to him, because when he smiles, he draws your attention, and he's just this guy who's not full of himself, but looks like he is so honest, and you feel gravitated towards him. So I really think that Harsha's got his looks and wits perfectly in balance, and that makes him very attractive.
No episode of Cricket on Air is complete.
Exactly.
Is complete without someone's looks or someone's handsomeness. But I'm glad you say that about Harsha Bhogle. I'm sure when he listens to this, he'll be very happy to know about
Exactly, because I think there are very few cricketers that Shri and I would find handsome and looking good.
Yeah, you guys just don't have that gift. I'll have to deal with all of that.
Thank God for that.
Well, that's it for this week, friends. We'll be back with another exciting episode of Cricket on Air, same time next week, right here on Cricket on Air.
Shri and Deepika signing off. Until next week, sayonara.
Harsha, see you on Cricket on Air soon. Bye.